Pandora's box is about to open wide.
Hapanoya, hapanoya, hapanoya to ya, ya. Hapanoya, hapanoya, hapanoya to ya. Welcome to the first Pandora's box of 2025.
You've been to Maui,
ladies and gentlemen. Huh?
You've been to Maui or something?
Have I been to Maui?
Papa Noel.
No, you couldn't. I don't think you could hear it, Drew. But we were just playing in off, obviously, of a song, and it sort of just went with the song.
Oh, okay, cool.
So yeah, we're playing in off Wolf Moon by Typo Negative, and that just sort of like fit in with it for some reason. So that's just what I was going with. But yeah, Happy New Year, everyone! I say first pod of 2025.
Woo-hoo.
New Year, same pod.
That's right.
You guys got any New Year's resolutions for this year?
Hell yeah.
What's yours, Drew?
Who's going to go first? Just the no alcohol thing, inspired by the mighty.
So you're going to try and do a whole year without any alcohol at all?
Yeah, I've got a. It's so much easier for me to do this, like to just go all or nothing with something. Like I got this app on my phone, and it's giving me a streak every day. And I saw it on Josh's post that he put out, and I said, "Man, what's that app that you're using?" And he sent me it, and me and Sherelle, my sister, is doing. We're doing a little like competition against each other and seeing how far we can go, and whoever loses has got to pay the other one £100. So that's just like.
So could it potentially go over a year?
Yeah, potentially. Yeah.
So it's just whoever basically
so
just like
go
set
up. And just
nice.
like this, the app is actually called Streaks, and it's you can just build up streaks and put whatever goals in you want. So I've got that one, and then also the carnivore diet as well. So I've been doing both of those since
Jordan Peterson.
Yeah, like Jordan Peterson's wife who healed her shoulder in less than 6 months.
But Jordan Peterson does it too, doesn't he? And so does his daughter Michaela.
Ah, nice. Yeah,
they both do the carnivore diet too.
Oh, mate, and my mental acuity seems to be on form at the moment. I have a new kind of clarity in my mind. I don't know whether that's the no alcohol or the carnivore diet or just a mixture of both, but feeling pretty darn good, man.
Yeah, I mean, I think like with any time you do anything like that, like cutting out alcohol for a start is obviously going to be like a massively beneficial thing to you. Do you know what I mean? Like mentally and physically. Like the more research that's done on alcohol, the worse it seems. Mm-hmm. You know, so we've always known that alcohol isn't like great for you, and obviously there's always been that old thing like, you know, a little booze will do you more good than bad, especially if it's like red wine. But I always think that's a little bit of a cop out, because it's like, well, say you're going to have red wines for like your antioxidants. Like there's loads of things you could have that have antioxidants in that aren't going to make you drunk. Do you know what I mean? And like, because like alcohol essentially is carcinogenic. Yeah. So like alcohol is like linked to like increased chances of cancer and stuff, which is like obviously nobody wants that. Yeah, no, nobody wants that. And
it's crazy as well. Like I think my relationship that I had with alcohol, like I'd have like these crazy blowouts every now and again, but I wasn't getting drunk all the time. But I was just having a little bit every night, and like I was getting quite down and stuff, and just like a bit mopey and feeling not fit. And I think it was directly related to that, like that and diet. You know, like not anything about what was mental going on. It's just kind of just like you're slowly, like you say, it's carcinogenic, so you're just slowly giving yourself a little bit of poison every day. Only
it is like
bit.
Poisoning, yeah, poisoning yourself, yeah.
So I think that played into why I was feeling not so good, and now I'm just like, woo!
I think that like you feel like a massive difference as well, especially if you're like the sort of person that doesn't drink very often, and then you do have a drink. It's like noticeable, like, oh man, I'm feeling a lot worse today. Like, you know, I don't have that same spring in my step, not feeling like super lively and full of life and like really chipper. Just more a bit like, just feeling a bit like, just a bit pooey in general, you know?
Do you know when I most noticed it? Because I obviously did, in November, I had a month without drinking. Yeah. And I think I played golf probably a couple weeks before November, and it was probably like a day after I'd been drinking. So I was a bit hungover. I shot the worst round I've ever had in my life, to the extent where I was like, I don't know if this is for me anymore. I was like, it's beat me. The sport beat me. Mm-hmm. So I took a month off or so, and then went back when I was not drinking for a month. And the difference in like level of clarity, like your mind and your body are so much more connected.
Yeah.
Like I was hitting the ball nice, you know. I was feeling good. I was feeling happy. I was feeling confident every time you walk up, and that was just from like a couple weeks of not drinking. So imagine how much difference you'd feel in like a year.
I don't think I've heard one story of people like saying that they've like give up alcohol or quit alcohol or something, and then it's not been positive. Like you know, it's funny. I've got that Threads thing on my phone, and I keep looking on that, and it's loads of people that have like quit and stuff, and it all seems to be like positive stuff. And I do think it's a bit of a disassociative as well. Like when you're drinking, like you say about that connection between your brain and your body. Like when you drink too much, I think that does, like Nathaniel was saying, like become less clear, you know. So,
like your motor pathways and stuff are like getting a bit more like confused maybe. I mean, you know, I think like it's almost like for like everybody, even though I'm not like a massive drinker, I do like to drink, and I think, you know, you've almost like got it in your head like around Christmas and New Year time that you just like drink more. Like it's just one of those things.
It's like, and it's like allowed. Bailey's for breakfast. For me.
And then like I mean, I'm not. I wouldn't like have a drink in the morning, like never. But like even just little things, like went up to like the Lake District, like obviously just got back a couple of days ago, and went out for like a real nice Thai meal. And this might sound like such a small thing, but like you know, like that Thai beer singer, it's really fucking nice.
I like that. Yeah.
I saw that, I like eyed it up, I spied it on the tap, and I was like, oh yeah, can I get a pint of Singer, please? And like afterwards, and this might sound really like over the top and dramatic, but I just like really regretted it. I like had it,
especially when you've eaten so much as well.
I don't know why, but like almost like afterwards, I almost was just like, that cost me like £5. Do you know what I mean?
Even more some places.
Yeah, that cost me like £5, and it was just almost just like I just felt worse after I'd had the pint than I did beforehand. And even though I had like a great day, but it was like quite a long day, and I'd been like doing loads of driving and been doing quite a lot of stuff, and I just felt a bit like I'd have rather have not had that. But for some reason, it was almost like I saw it and I thought, nice thing to do would be able to have a pint, but you know what I mean. But then as soon as I actually had the pint, I was like, I should.
What effect that actually had on your body and made you a bit more lethargic after an already lethargic-inducing day. I was just like, that's a bit pooey. And I definitely do feel like the times I've felt most on the ball in my life has been when I've been like drinking the least, you know? I mean, it's like, I haven't got like an addictive personality, which is really good. So like, I'm not like the sort of person that like feels like I need to have substances to like have a good time. I do. I've definitely got an addictive personality. I can realising sometimes, you know?
Like I've like gone months without drinking before, without even like setting a goal of not drinking for months. Do you know what I mean? And it's like, and it's like it's not even like I'm not even thinking about it. Do you know what I mean? I'm not even like almost like aware of the fact I'm doing it. So
that's good,
I do think it's really cool. Like with like Josh obviously not drinking for a whole year, and then you say you're going to do it and stuff like that. I think it's like one of those little things though for me as well. It's like, probably just go back to that sort of like mindset of like, you know, if there's like a choice, like, shall I have a drink or not? More like go on the on the side of like, nah, rather than Do you know what I mean? Like, you know, because I think that sometimes that's it, isn't it? It's not even like you're like gagging for it. It's just like, I might.
There.
It's like
why not?
Yeah, okay, I might do, but it's not worth it, guys. Don't poison yourself. I say I like it. I think it's like. I think sometimes it's great to have a drink, like in a social situation. Do you know what I mean? Like certain social situations, I think, like in like certain like parties and mates and that, it's really nice to let your hair down and stuff. But I think the whole idea of just almost like sitting in your house and just like drinking is almost like a bit depressing.
Yeah, I think if I didn't have a social excuse to drink, I think I would probably be teetotal. I couldn't see myself ever drinking if it wasn't like going out with friends and feeling like you sort of want to do it because everyone else is doing it or whatever.
One thing I've never understood as well is like, you know, like some people are like, I don't really like the taste of alcohol, I just do it to get drunk. And I've always like, I remember even when I was a teenager and I'd hear stuff like that, I'd be like, what? Like,
because
to me, I'm almost like the opposite.
Lush tasting stuff, but then it gives you a bit of a buzz as well. It's almost like the buzz is like the after effect of the real nice crazy cocktail or something like.
Yeah, to me, I just think there's so many nice alcoholic drinks. Do you know what I mean? And there's like pretty much, I think if you try enough, you'll surely find something for you. Whether it's like a vodka tonic, gin and tonic, like lager, real ale, IPA, whiskey, rum. Do you know what I mean? There's like so many freaking drinks you could have. Crabbies, freaking love my alcoholic ginger beer. Do you know what I mean? And it's like, it's such like every sip you're like,
yeah, butty back.
Do you know what I mean?
Have you had a butty back?
What is a butty back?
It's like a real ale. like a, I don't know if it's from Yorkshire or something. It's like Butty Bach. I think you'd really like it because it's quite like Doombar and that, you know.
Yeah, it's like an amber ale, is it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I really like amber ale, so probably if it's like a good quality amber ale.
Yeah, really.
Yeah,
nice.
I love Doombar and Bass and stuff like that. Freaking love a good pint of Bass.
But yeah, I think for me as well, it was like saying about, like Nathaniel was saying about, like, you probably wouldn't drink if it wasn't for social situations. For me, it was more of a de-stressor, you know, in the evenings. Like if I felt a little bit of stress over anything, like something that's going on, you're really busy, or just like, I reach to external like substances or things, just a drink, one or two, but just to like take the edge off and be like, I can relax now. But then that's
comfortably numb.
Yeah, and that can, like, it's that reaching for external things to to numb yourself out a bit, and that's like scary in itself, like, you know, because it's like you don't want to be having to rely on that stuff. Oh
yeah, I think that's almost like a bad sign in itself, isn't it? Luckily I don't really have that, because I think I've always used like
it's
the
real
gym
good, man.
for that. Yeah, that's like my crutch, you know. That's almost like my gym. Sorry, my church slash sort of like meditation slash equivalent of going down to the pub or
release,
or doing some meth. Do you know what I mean? Like, yeah, man. It's just like the thing I sort of like look forward to. The thing that definitely like de-stresses me, takes out like a lot of like pent up like whatever. It's hard to like really like pour your freaking heart and soul into a workout and then afterwards feel like you've got any sort of like pent up frustration or energy. Do you know what I mean? You just feel like,
yeah, that's so good. Like picking something that's actually positive for you to use as that to give you that like release and stuff. Like, yeah, healthy things do that. I think like Josh is quite like that with his creative stuff and that as well. You know what I mean? Like from when he came on, he was talking and that. It seems to be like that's quite a release for him when he's editing something or like, you know, editing some photos.
Tunnel vision and
yeah.
Yeah, rather than just being like, I need to get on the pub because I'm at a bad day and I'm just going to drink and then I'm going to come home and shout at my missus. I'm going to throw a plate against the wall.
Oh, yeah, you don't want to go down that road.
Yeah, go all like EastEnders on.
Yeah.
So, carnivore diet, man. So how long? So you've been on the carnivore diet now for what? 8 days? Did you start on January the 1st?
Yeah.
That's quite a big thing as well, because obviously usually your diet isn't like the best, is it? Like it's quite up and down.
I always like relate stuff to what's happening or why I'm feeling something is like because it's the way I'm thinking, and just by doing this it's showing me that it's not all about that. It's like building a good foundation with like your diet and like say for me like no alcohol. That's almost giving me like a nice foundation to then feel like more like just level-headed, like, you know, and then like reading into it about what it does with your blood sugar, and you don't get these like blood sugar spikes and stuff. And I'm wondering like, was I getting that stuff because I'd get like real lethargic all the time and that? But yeah, after the second day of doing it, I got a real bad headache on the second day, like savage. I thought I was going to throw up and stuff.
I think that's mental.
Yeah, I was reading about it, and apparently it's to do with your gut biome and like, and you know, it's your gut biome that's craving all the sugar and all the stuff that you've been eating, the crap. It's almost like calling out like, no, feed me, because it's going to die if it doesn't. So like, so then
I think you can really see that as well, like, because obviously like for people that don't know, like your you know, if you eat certain foods, your gut will create bacteria that will then crave them. Yeah. So you see people that
you're craving really it, but it's not. It's your gut.
So like you see people that are like really say like crave McDonald's, or you know, they wouldn't be able to pass McDonald's without almost like salivating over the thought of having a Mackey's, or like they're like that with chocolate, for example. Like both of those things, like I just could care less about, but it's because I don't have either of them and anywhere near enough to create the gut biome to like crave things. Like, I don't even really know if I crave anything, to be honest with you. Like, every now and again, I'll, like, really crave, say, like, a pizza or something. But I think that makes sense from an evolutionary standpoint, purely because, obviously, we've evolved to basically try and survive. And, obviously, relatively speaking, it's a short amount of time has passed since we've been, like, hunter-gatherers. Do you know what I mean? And because pizza is one of those foods that's, like, high in all the macros, it's high in protein, fat and carbs. It's almost like your body sees that and it's like, fill me up,
give me
baby.
some of that.
Yeah, like fill me up, baby. Like, that's gonna like make me, you know, I can live off that for days, sort of thing. Do you know what I mean? So I think like a good pizza and like burgers and that as well. I think like a nice big burger, like I'll definitely salivate over that. But I don't really like madly get food cravings. I mean, when I think about what I'm going to have for dinner, I'm more just thinking like, okay, what is going to be nice, but at the same time, like, what is going to like, what's almost like what's going to tick the boxes. That's what I just think. Like, what's going to tick the box?
Yeah,
you know,
it's funny because pizza has been the thing that I've seen, and I've been like, oh my god, like Meg's had a few pizzas and stuff since I've been doing it, or one actually. But but I like put it in the oven and cooked it and that, and I got it out. I'm like, oh my god, I could just murder that right now. Like,
yeah, man. I think though, like, I think what the like two of the biggest like pros of say the carnivore diet, because obviously there's so many diets that people go on and stuff, and there's so many people like extremists on both sides of things, and you know, you get some really like extremists, say like raw vegans, and then you get like people that are on carnivore diet, and you get like paleo people and keto people and all sorts, and then like, you know, if it fits your macros people. But I think that two like really good upsides of carnivore is that you're bound to have your daily protein intake is bound to go up, which is like going to be nothing but a good thing. And also it's going to be way easier to be in a calorie deficit if you're just eating essentially meat, because meat is really satiating, it's really filling. And also it's like, unless you're literally eating like freaking like 6 whole chickens a day, you're not really going to be like stuffing yourself and like gaining weight. I think if you've been having like I'm going to sit around until I'm starving and then I'm going to go get myself a McDonald's, or I'm going to sit around until I'm starving and I'm going to go get like a packet of crisps and then a sandwich, and then, do you know what I mean? It's like, it's really easy to like binge eat on that lifestyle. But if you're just like, okay, it's like 12 o'clock now and I'm just going to have like a steak, or I'm just going to have like some chicken and some eggs. It's really hard to overeat on that.
Yeah.
So I think, you know, you're going to lose body fat. Full. Yeah. But it's like, so you're going to lose body fat and you're going to be taking in way more protein, which is going to like help your body repair, recover, maybe increase your lean body mass. Especially obviously if you're pairing that with exercise, it like 100% will. You know, like,
that's the one thing that I need to increase now. Now I've got the other two things down.
Are you still doing your little like push-ups and body
over
weight
Christmas?
squats?
I didn't do it. No, so I was and like have been doing it. But yeah, over Christmas I've just I think I'm figuring out like I need to set myself goals. If I have something to work towards. Like, do you know what you said about like you can go long periods of time without drinking and like and just not even think about it, and you just kind of do it. Like, I can't do stuff like that if I don't set myself a goal and like give myself these boundaries of that, like then I will just do whatever. Like, I haven't got that like self-control or that like just that mindset of like of, you know, that positively doing something that's like good for you automatically. So like I think sticking, like having things like removing the options to do anything else, like makes sure I do it. Like, so I think it's you know, because I did what you're saying about crisps and all that kind of stuff. Like, I would have a lot of all that stuff, and I was feeling real
quick
like,
Mackies on the way home. If you were in the studio,
you know?
and you wanted to get back to Ludlow as quick as possible, it's like,
I
what's
need
quicker than
food.
quickly popping through the Mackies drive-through?
Yeah,
it's quick, it's tasty. You can eat it on the go.
Yeah,
I'm not in the car. Do you know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like, of course, you know,
that becomes
makes
like bad habits, and like, but now there is just literally not that option. So you know, I've always got digestive biscuits in the cupboard. There's like real nice crisps, like good quality crisps, like, you know, like those farmers ones or whatever, and that. But it's still like fried
crisps are crisps, man.
Yeah. But now there's just literally no option to have any of it, so I don't even think about it. It's like weird, like, you know, I'm not like, oh, I really want that, and I wish I could have it and stuff. I'm just like, okay, that's not an option. I'm just eating this, like, boom, and it simplifies the process in my mind, which is good, I think.
100%, and I think that's one of the big things with diets, and I think a lot of people get really caught up on like, what is the best diet, or like, okay, like, or almost, you know, I think it's a bit almost like religion. It's like the idea that like there's only one true religion, the rest are frauds, and what is the one? And it's almost like this pressure that you can have in your mind. And I think that the thing is, it's like, look, they all have their pros and cons. Some will be better than others for like different reasons, and some of them it will be like debatable, you know, which are, you know, better than others, except, you know, for example, different people will have different opinions on that, but they're just tools. I think that's the main thing, is like they're tools. I think that, you know, like certain diets might suit certain people better for different reasons, you know, like I know, so there's this lady I follow on Instagram and YouTube that I have done for probably like 9 years now, called like Kristen Pope. She's a former like really successful like national level weightlifter for like Team USA. She's now moved on to more like women's physique competitions as well. She's also owns a really successful business. She's like a businesswoman. I think it's called. Is it called Dynamic Pursuit? If it's not, then that's really random. I've just
that's a cool name. It's not just trademark that.
Yeah, somebody else's thing. Anyway, she sells her own, like, she's like basically like an online sort of strength coach, does nutritional programs, all of that jazz. Do you know what I mean? But also sells her own supplements. Anyway, she's like a beast of a lady. But she openly says that she like hates eating vegetables and stuff like that. She always has done. But she does like the if it fits your macros diet. The only downside of that is you have to be super disciplined really to make that effective, and she is, so she can make it work, but she has basically decided and you have to completely weigh and track everything, because basically she has set protein, carbs and fats and calorie goals every single day, and she just basically makes sure she meets them, but then what she gets, but then how she gets to that is like completely up to her. Yeah, that's what if it fits your macros is. A
complete mix of just different things.
Yeah, and because she's like openly, she's like, yeah, I like sort of, I really like eating things like waffles. So she's like, she would rather have some waffles in the morning and then maybe be restricted on some certain other things. Do you know what I mean? Like if as long as it fits her macros and her calories for the day, that works for her. And you can't argue with the results, because you look at her and she's she looks insane. Do you know what I mean? She looks like some Greek sculpture. Do you know what I mean? Like that, and she's like really healthy as well. Do you know what I mean? It's not like she's an athlete with it. She's not just like one of those bodybuilders that's like real sunken in and they're probably going to have like a heart attack or some liver failure. You know what I mean? She's like an athlete. She worked like the highest level like weightlifting competitions for a weight class and stuff like that. So I think it's like different things work for different people,
and because it's always I think as well with like the time of eating and stuff, like some people like really need to eat like as soon as they get up in the morning, like they wake up starving, and I've like never been that person. I'd be like for me to get up, have a coffee, and then my first, because I'm trying to do it, but between like 12 and 6 or 12 and 8 or whatever, just like that the kind of window, it works so perfectly for me, because it's like I get up, have a coffee, maybe have a couple of coffees, and then by the time it's like 12 p.m, cook up a massive steak and eggs and everything, and it's just like I'm real looking forward to that meal. Then I'm super full after it, and I just still feel like really wide awake and like not that like post meal like lethargic like feeling, and that I don't seem to get it, so that works for me. But then like my missus is like, she'll wake up in the morning and just needs to eat like straight away, else she'll like be like flagging and feeling sick and stuff.
I think it's obvious that Meg's got like a ridiculously fast metabolism, and I think for people that do have super fast metabolisms, you're going to wake up in the morning super hungry. I've never had a fast metabolism. I think my metabolism is probably more on the slower end. I've never had a problem putting on size. My problem has always been keeping my body fat down low enough that I can look like decent with the size I have. Do you know what I mean? Like, which I think is more like in line with someone that has a slower metabolism. So like, I've never been a big like morning eater either, man. I'm always just happy. Like,
you've had a massive meal the night before. You've not been up walking around all night. You've just been chilling, so it's just digesting slowly.
I just think like coffee, water, morning express. Do you know what I mean? The morning express always arrives like by the time pretty much I've like made my coffee and that. Go have some me time, check in with the morning express, and then usually I'll like. Do you know what I mean? I'll make myself like a protein shake. You know what I mean? With like some Greek yogurt, I'll have like some Greek yogurt. I'll blend that out with some protein powder and some water.
That's a good one, yeah.
Because it's like healthy gut bacteria to start the day. Do you know what I mean? I'm getting some calcium from the Greek yogurt as well, so along with some healthy gut bacteria. I'm getting some protein in. Do you know what I mean? It's like making sure that my body's in an anabolic state rather than a catabolic state, and then I don't have to worry about it for ages. Do you know what I mean? It's like I'm good to go then for hours and hours. I'm all right until like lunchtime, early afternoon sort of thing. Do you know what I mean? Like,
what does that mean, man? As well, the anabolic and catabolic.
So this is one of the things that would be good about you being on the carnivore diet, man. So your body is going to tend to either be in like an anabolic state or a catabolic state. If your body's in a catabolic state, then it's probably like burning muscle tissue, things like that. Okay. It's more in like a breaking down state rather than a building state. If it's your body's in an anabolic state, you hear the term like anabolic steroids. One of the reasons that like people would take steroids is because they're anabolic. So it puts your body in a like a growth state, which is why bodybuilders are like yoked. Now, obviously, naturally, you can never get as consistently anabolic as somebody that takes anabolic steroids, but there's lots of things you can do to try and make sure that your body's in as anabolic state as possible. And the easiest way to do that basically is to get enough sleep, and to, because sleep's just so important, makes like for like your hormones and everything, and obviously like your hormones, like your testosterone levels and your estrogen levels are like really, really important for like how your anabolic state, and also it's just like protein intake essentially. If you're like consistently taking in protein every single day, and you're taking it in enough of it, then you're going to help make sure that your body's in an anabolic state, so your body's more likely to be building lean mass, not just even just building, but holding on to what you already have, making sure you're not breaking down what you have. Especially and that's because that's what happens as well, atrophying. As you get older, and I'm not even talking like like great granddad older, I'm talking like past the age of 40 even. Do you know what I mean? Your body will find it harder to hold on to your lean muscle mass
if you're not doing stuff.
Yeah, if you're not maintaining it, if you're not like doing some sort of like resistance training, some sort of sport, and taking in sort of like enough protein and enough like micronutrients, then your body will find it increasingly harder to hold on to your lean body mass, and especially to build even more lean body mass. Do you know what I mean? So it's like there's certain things you can do to just like do yourself a favor. So try and keep yourself in an anabolic state. One of the things you're saying about alcohol, another bad thing about alcohol is it puts your body in a catabolic state. It's almost like impossible to be in an anabolic state if you're drunk, or like if you're drinking alcohol on a consistent basis. So like little things like cutting out alcohol, making sure you're getting in lots of protein, and like high quality proteins as well, which animal proteins are the highest quality proteins. Do you know what I mean? They are like complete amino acid profiles. You judge how high a quality a protein is by its amino acid profile. Basically, it's really simple. Like some people make out it's way more complicated than it is, especially like vegans that will like argue that like vegan like plant proteins are just as good as animal proteins.
I think this is why I like it, because it's super simple. Like
yeah. And this isn't even anything against vegans either, because it's like, I'm sure they're just not as aware of it. Do you know what I mean? They've just probably heard some influencer that's saying like, you can get jacked on a vegan diet, and yeah, you can. Don't get me wrong, but it's way harder. There isn't a single plant protein that has like a complete amino acid profile. From I think they're the ones that are closest. I think I think it might be like pea protein. Soy protein, I think it's got a pretty close to complete amino acid profile, and I can't remember if it's pea or hemp. There are a couple that are close, but at the end of the day, one thing I can say for 100% certainty is none of them would measure up to say an egg or a steak or
what about
chicken
whey protein
or lamb. Whey protein is like on the very, very upper end. Whey protein, so like dairy protein. The two proteins you get from dairy are whey and casein. So in like a normal, say like you had like a pint of raw milk, right, from fresh from a healthy cow, straight from the teat. The protein in that would be comprised of 80% casein protein and 20% whey protein. Casein protein is more of like a slow digesting protein. Whey protein is a fast digesting protein, and you can see sort of like why nature would concoct that percentage, because say you're like a young calf that needs to grow into a big strong bull, like it's getting that 20% whey protein, which is like a quick hit. You know what I mean? To like get you like just for now, and then that 80% slow digesting from the casein is keeping you going for a good few hours until 3-4 hours later, when you can get you're on the teat again. So it makes sense, but obviously what we can do as like humans who manipulate everything around us, we've realised that we can obviously isolate them. And what I think is crazy, and it just goes to show, like, makes me wonder like what we might be utilising in the future, which at the moment we're treating as a waste product. So whey protein used to be considered a waste product, because when people make cheese, as you might see, if you look at, say, the back of the nutritional profile of like a big block of cheese, it has way less protein than, say, like milk does. And that's because in the process of making cheese,
separates out, doesn't it?
So the people used to chuck away, like in the UK or any country that makes cheese, they would chuck away like tons and tons and tons of whey protein, like every freaking week, right, across the way. And then one day, scientists realized that if you give people whey protein along with training, that they grow muscle like way quicker than if you don't. Basically, if you just say like somebody that's like, say someone that's like on a normal average diet, and training, and then someone that's on a normal diet but say has like a whey protein shake after the gym, that the people that had the whey protein shake would gain strength and muscle way easier. And then all these obviously subsequent studies were done over the years and meta-analyses, and now we know that like whey protein is like super high on the spectrum. I think, as far as off the top of my head, I think whey protein is considered almost like, if you want to call it like a best protein, it's almost like the best protein. Do you know what I mean?
It's almost some of that now. Then
there's a scale that you can look at online. I think you'd have to be careful exactly what to put up, because obviously the only problem with the internet nowadays is there's so much crap that you have to like sift through to actually find the good stuff. But if you find like a credible website, there is literally like almost like a graph, and it will say like beef, chicken, egg, whey protein, soy, pea, hemp, and it tells you, judged on how complete the amino acid profile is, on like how good a protein it is. So it's just like a little graph, and like the very best ones are like beef, lamb, egg, chicken, stuff like that, and then like whey is just like a tiny bit better than that. That's why like some people are almost like a bit like anti-protein shake, and I think that there's an element of
some have like a lot of sugar in and stuff, don't they? Like,
yes, that's exactly what I'm getting at. That's what I'm getting at. So I think there's an element of good to that, in terms of like, be careful where you're getting your whey protein from. So like, don't go for, say, proprietary blends. All a proprietary blend is essentially is a company's crafty way of basically saying, we're not going to tell you what we're putting in this, and at the same time, it almost sounds fancy.
Yeah.
Our secret proprietary blend. It's almost like KFC. Do you know what I mean? Like the secret recipe. Our secret proprietary blend. The world. I know, and it makes it almost sound impressive. Like, oh wow, it's this like massive secret, and this means it's like super good because it's like this like amazing formula that nobody knows, and it's like, it's actually really sneaky if you think about it, because it's like it's our way of saying like, we're not going to tell you really what's in it. Like, I think legally they have to tell you what's in it, but not in the percentages.
Right.
So all a company has to do to get away with that is just to call something a proprietary blend. So don't buy anything that's a proprietary blend. Look, basically, again, it's a bit like what I was saying about the simplicity of, say, the carnivore diet. It doesn't have to be super complicated, right? Just like look up a super ethical, super well reviewed, and highly reviewed, like 4.9 out of 5 stars or 5-star company. I go for one called. I can't even think of it at the top of my head now. But anyway, it's basically the company that I get. It's known to be like, they don't put anything in it. It's literally, it's like, so like I get like chocolate whey, and all it is like whey, and then like some fat reduced cocoa powder. Yeah, like cacao. Do you know what I mean? It's like, that's it. Yeah. That's like basically it.
Because I quite like to get just whey on its own, and then say have it with milk, and then add a bit of honey to it or something, and just like make your own kind of milky.
That would be really good around training. I do that around training sometimes, especially if I feel like I'm like flagging a bit. I try and listen to my body. So like if I feel like I'm full of energy, I'm not going to put like a load of honey in a shake around training time, because it's like, well, I don't need it. Do you know what I mean? But if I haven't been eating that much that day, and I've got like a brutal workout planned, then I'll usually put like some honey in like a protein shake, and then I'll have that like while I'm training. And then not just obviously are you getting the energy from the honey, but what happens is as well, and I quite like the imagery in my head when I think about this, is the whey can almost like get a ride on the carbs. It gets like a lift. So because obviously fast digesting carbohydrates like honey, which is a really good, the same way like bananas would be another good one. They're good fast digesting carbohydrates because they're very natural. Do you know what I mean? They're like, they're not overly processed ones. It's not like it's not like white sugar that we make granulate sugar, but because it's fast digesting, if it gets into your bloodstream super quickly, which is what you want around training time, which is why like sports drinks are fast digesting. Because people that run marathons and stuff like that, they need to keep their energy levels up, because otherwise they'll literally pass out. Like, do you know what I mean? Like the protein can like get a lift on the honey, and then that will get into your bloodstream quicker. So otherwise, if you didn't have the honey, it would take it like a little bit longer. Even though it's a fast digesting protein, so it will get into your body super quickly, it will just get eaten even quicker if it's like getting on something like honey, because it just like it literally it's, I always imagine it's almost like the honey's the car, and then the way's like getting in the car, and it's just like and then
the new school.
It's also a really good way of like getting like a really good pump. You know, if you were like gonna say like have a workout and you were like having like honey and whey, and you just got that, you're fucking just like and you're just like, pumping some iron, and your muscles just feel nice and full. You know, you're like, oh yeah, you know, it's just like really nice feeling. You know, that real nice feeling you get. So yeah,
nothing beats a pump.
Yeah, nothing beats a pump, baby. And yeah, it's like say like so I think, you know. But long story short, I think when it comes to like supplements, unless for ethical reasons you don't want to take a whey or a casein. So at the end of the day, I respect everyone's choices. So if you don't want to have animal proteins, that's up to you, innit? But as long as you're just like a normal omnivorous person that just wants to have the best things, I would say that all you need to know is go for a whey, all right? Whey concentrate or whey isolate. Whey isolate is slightly better than whey concentrate, but it's also more expensive.
Right.
I would say unless you either suffer from dairy intolerance or you're like a high level sports person, probably just go for the concentrate, because it's not worth the extra money to get the isolate. Do you know what I mean? It's like the difference will be so minute in quality that it's probably not worth it. Like I just take a whey concentrate because when I was younger, sometimes I'd buy isolate. And then I thought, you know, I mean, I'm not like a pro bodybuilder. I'm not a pro athlete. To me, I'd rather save that like £10 a month.
Is the isolate just like more refined, like got less stuff in it?
It's basically
more pure whey.
It's just more pure. Yeah, it's not. It's not even like it has anything less in it. It's just like more. It's just it's more. It's more isolated. It's just a bit more of like a pure product, and it would be like digest into your system slightly quicker. Be better for people, as I said, that say have dairy intolerances. I know for a fact that say people that might suffer from dairy intolerances might be able to handle whey isolate, but they wouldn't be able to handle whey concentrate. You know, I mean, because like any like almost like the side effects, negative side effects of dairy would be like more filtered out in the isolate compared to the concentrate. But I think for most people that just want to get like fit and strong generally, I would just say like, you know, save your money. It's not going to make a big difference, especially if like, you know, you're tolerant with dairy and stuff like that, and you can have milk and cheese and stuff without feeling ill. Then I just think just go ahead and have concentrate personally.
Nice.
And the other thing I'll say as well, just remember basically casein, slow digesting, whey, fast digesting. So if you want to maybe have something before bed, you know, if you've been working out really, really hard and you want to start taking working out really seriously, maybe have some casein before bed, and then that'll almost like drip feed into your system overnight. Yet again, helping you stay anabolic, helping your body recover, you know, while you're asleep. Way fast digesting. So, you know, around workout times. And what you can also do, a bit like how it is in nature anyway, like in milk, or you could have like a scoop of each. You know, I often do that. And when you're doing that, it's almost more like a meal replacement. Like most animal proteins, like beef, chicken and stuff, will probably take about 3 or 4 hours to fully digest into your system. So if you mix like a scoop of whey and a scoop of casein, that's probably going to be about 4 hours.
How many like grams of like protein would that have in it generally, like a double scooper?
It depends on the brand, because obviously different brands have like different size scoops. They tend to be about the same size. Usually around like 30-gram scoop. I think it's about right. That's awesome. Usually sort of the average. But in general, like a high quality protein powder, one scoop will be between like 20 of whey. One scoop, or casein for that matter, one scoop would be between sort of like 20 and 25 grams of protein. So, you know, you have like, say, like a gram, a scoop of whey and a scoop of casein. You're having somewhere between 40 and 50 grams of protein, which is another reason why I think it's worth doing, as long as you get a really high quality brand, because, a bit like what I was saying about alcohol, the more, but in the opposite way, the more research that's done about protein, it seems like the most up-to-date research is just saying that actually protein is even more important than we used to think it was. So we've always known that protein is important, but it actually seems like there are even like studies that have been released within the last few months that I was reading, like meta-analyses, that were saying that they actually think it's even more important than it used to be. So I just think from a convenience standpoint, it's not always convenient for me to like stuff my face full of chicken and steak and stuff. But if I can have like what is essentially almost tastes like a nice chocolate milkshake, but it's just like convenient down the hatch. Takes me 2 minutes max just to like put some scoops in some liquid and shake it up.
That's it with Meg at the moment as well, with like breastfeeding that, which finding it so hard to get enough like protein just with a really fast metabolism. So she's like losing weight and like, you know, still eating like 3 meals a day with like protein in every meal and stuff. But just ordered a load of like protein powder to have between meals to try and keep it like topped up. That sounds good.
Did she get whey? Did she get whey or casein or what?
She got whey protein, like a high quality whey protein.
The only time that wouldn't be great to have would be before bed. You can still have it. It obviously wouldn't do you any harm, but it's just it wouldn't be as optimal.
And she's ordered this other one as well, which is like bovine, like
bovine protein. Yeah, you can buy beef protein powders. Yeah,
so so we got a whey one and we got a beef.
They're high quality, man. They're
beef
good.
One come in as well.
They're really good.
But that's more for the little man because he's a little bit intolerant to milk still. So we're trying to get one that's like not milk, but like still like animal. So
that would be a good thing to have before bed. That would be a bit more slower digestion. Probably about 4 hours, I reckon. Yeah. So like that would still be like quite a nice, decent amount of time. I'd say if you had that before bed, do you know what I mean? You could, and it would really help her with like producing obviously all the breast milk when she was asleep and making sure that she was recovering and getting all of her requirements on top of obviously. Basically being like a milk factory.
Oh, nice. So we've got a morning one and an evening one, quite like automatically.
And say in like the afternoon, if she wanted, she could do a scoop of each.
Yeah.
As long as the flavours that she's got are compatible. Obviously, you wouldn't want like a scoop of like mango and a scoop of chocolate. That'd be rank.
Yeah.
But, like, do you know what I mean? As long as
vanilla
as long
and
as
chocolate,
like
and
that'd be banging.
And subtle ones as well apparently. So they're not because I don't like these ones like full of sugar or like really like loads of
just. Do you remember what the brand was? Do you remember what the brand was?
Oh no, man, no!
I'm trying to remember what's the one that I usually take. I'll tell you.
Is Applied Nutrition? Is that something you've had before?
No, I think I have had Applied Nutrition in the past, but I didn't like
Nutrition or something.
I like the sound of that. I've never heard of it before.
Ape.
I've never had Ape. I'm trying to remember what mine are called. I'll tell you.
It's Ape Nutrition.
Oh, nice! I'll have to look into them.
And they do like powdered like beef organ supplements and stuff as well.
Nice. The ones that I go for are called Protein Works.
Ah, yeah.
They're award winning. They're basically their USP. Protein Works is that they are everything they use is premium grade. They never add sugar.
Oh, that's good.
And they're an award-winning company. They basically won awards for like their how clean and their factories are and the quality of ingredients they use and stuff like that. So basically, that's like all I need to know. Do you know what I mean? That's the way I would think of it. That's like all I need to know. So if you look at Protein Works, that's a good one. They do tend to be a little bit more expensive. But yeah, again, you get what you pay for in life, don't you? If you're buying a really cheap protein powder, there's probably a reason why it's cheap, and it's probably got loads of sugar in and like low quality protein and stuff like that.
Yeah,
unfortunately.
This one's grass-fed beef protein, raw cacao, and maple sea salt. And it's 60 quid a pop, so it seems quite expensive. But
that's definitely expensive. But how much? Is that 2 kilogram, 1 kilogram?
How can I see? 1.3 kilograms.
And that was 60 quid.
Yeah,
mate, that is mega.
But it's like grass-fed, organic, like, and everything, like, you know.
Yeah, that's good. I think to be fair as well, that sounds super expensive, and I expect people listening out there are like, there are some people that are like, that is stupid. I wouldn't pay for that.
But, you know, you're getting a whole meal out of one. Thing with it.
I think it works out as something like 70 to 90p a shake. And if you think about it. Most people wouldn't think twice about spending a quid on a bottle of Coke, would they?
Yeah.
People wouldn't scoff at that. So it's like when you think
pay
about it like
£2 for a like protein shake from a shop.
Mate, more.
Yeah.
I sometimes if I'm like if I'm in Sainsbury's and I've spent like £3 on like a high quality protein shake before. Do you know what I mean? And that's just so it's like actually. It's not as expensive as it sounds like on paper, you know.
But if that's a full meal replacement and like you know,
exactly.
and it's really good quality and it's giving you that hit of protein, yeah, I think that's all right. So it's 60p.
100%. And I think if Meg had, if Meg had 4 scoops of that a day, then that's like an extra 100 grams of protein she's having a day. That's mega. Yeah. That's massive. That's like a world of difference. Having an extra 100 grams of protein a day. Some people don't even have 100 grams of protein in a day. Like, their diets are so rubbish.
I'm going to need to get on them as well, I think.
Yeah, man, do it. I did just see as well, actually, Protein Works have a sale on Amazon at the moment. You can buy a bag of whey protein concentrate 80. Oh, you can't really see, it's too
nice.
2 kilograms of that for only £35.99. It's reduced. It reduced from 80 quid.
Reduced from 80 quid?
Yeah, reduced from 80 quid down to £35.99. Yeah, that's a massive saving, isn't it?
That's the thing.
What's
I think with me, like, because I'm feeling really satiated with what I'm just having with the meat at the moment, and I'm trying to lose my belly a bit. Like, unless I was working out like quite a bit at the same time, I reckon I would just like keep my belly. Like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
With
if you had like loads.
Yeah.
If you had loads, but I think you'd have to have quite a lot of protein shakes to put on weight, because it's not like got that many calories in, really.
And
obviously,
and that one's not got added sugar in that, you were saying.
What, the one that I have?
Yeah.
No, not at all.
Oh, nice.
No. So they have no added sugar in any of their products. That's one of the reasons I like them. It literally said it's like premium grade products. They're an award-winning company. No added sugar. Really, really good. They're known for their like ethics now. As I said, they're more of like an expensive brand, but you get what you pay for. They're all of their protein is from grass-fed cows, so they also will naturally have like some omegas in them and stuff like that. And I think it's about like it's something like 110 calories per scoop. So if you think about it, that's not really much, man. You got a couple of them a day
for the grammage of protein you're getting.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
So like, say you had 2 scoops that a day, right? That would be say 45 grams of protein extra a day, and you'd be getting like an extra like 220 grams of carbs. Sorry, of calories. That's nothing. That's nothing. That's not going to really like, I would think the benefit, for me personally, I would think the pros would outweigh the cons personally.
Yeah.
For that.
This is like, for me, this is like a really fun part of New Year, of like, just like, when you start looking at your diet, how you can improve things and that, and do you know what I mean? Like, it's actually, I think with the amount of information and all the things that are out there and all these like amazing products and that, it's like you can get excited about like trying to be a bit healthier, like,
Oh yeah, man, for sure. How's your working out going out, Bullwinkle? Because you were doing really good up until Christmas, then you got really ill, didn't you?
Yeah.
Have you been hitting the gym since again, or?
I've been like once or twice,
right?
But like, I mean, I still plan. I've still got obviously the workout plan that we were discussing. I've got that all on my notes, and I do plan that as soon as like I'm ready, I'm gonna be back in.
Yeah, because I basically made you a workout program, didn't I? We basically just like sat in the office one day for about 2 hours, and I wrote Bullwinkle.
Nice,
full-on program.
Yeah, it was almost like it was going to start as like a small thing, and then it was literally like 2 hours.
Like,
later.
Let's go balls deep.
I've got to say, man, I was loving going to the gym, and then when I got like the flu right before Christmas, I was like so ill that I couldn't really move, and then it felt, I don't know, after when I came back, it was a bit like, when I'm not so ill anymore. Obviously my brother came home. It was kind of, that period between Christmas and New Year's. You're just eating all the time, you're drinking. Obviously, because I don't have like a home gym,
of course,
the gym's not open all the time as well. So that was like part of the problem. But then since New Year's, I've got like slight cold anyway. And I was just a bit like, if I'm going to go back, I kind of want to go back when I feel 100%. Like I can fully enjoy it, So I think that's the plan. I find, to be fair, this period of like January, February, March, probably my least favourite period of the year. Yeah. Just because, like,
I know you don't like the cold.
No, like, for example, I haven't really slept in like 3 days.
Really?
Pretty much. Just because it's too cold, man.
Serious?
Is it too cold?
How is it too cold in your house, man?
It's so cold.
Do your mum and dad not have the heating on? Or?
I don't have heating in my room. You know? That's the problem.
You don't have a radiator?
No, there's no radiator or anything.
Why don't you buy yourself a little convection heater?
That's what. No, but I've got like a massive window anyway.
Yeah,
right. But our windows are so old. They're like I think they're probably still the same windows that we had when we bought the house.
So maybe
they let in so much of the cold.
Time for an upgrade, maybe.
Pretty much. I feel like I'm like camping. Why
don't you ask your mum and dad if you can pay to have the window replaced in your room?
Just
it might be worth doing.
If you've got enough spare money in your bank account, man, I'm sure they'd appreciate it, because you basically be doing them a solid because it's their house. But I'm sure just to like
warm at night.
Yeah, and just to replace one window, dude, it won't cost you too much.
Yeah,
you know what I mean, it's not going to cost you like an arm and a leg. It'd be like a bit spenny.
It's probably worth doing. I think later on I might even go like look. Apparently there's like a radiator. Apparently there's a radiator somewhere in the house that I've got to go find like a mission. I like
how you could just buy yourself one, but instead you're going on some like fantasy RPG game.
Yeah, exactly.
There's a heater somewhere in the house, and it's my job to find it. You could literally just buy a heater off Amazon for like 20 quid, and it could just like arrive the next day. And then that's like all your worries, rather than just like the image of you in bed every night like can't sleep.
Those funky ones that you've got yours, man, that I thought was a speaker.
Oh yeah. They're good, aren't they? Yeah, good. Yeah. The thing is, though, I mean, obviously it depends. Like, you don't want it to be too cold. It's actually, your body actually finds it easier to sleep in the cold than it does in the heat. I find it way harder to sleep in summer than I do in this time.
I noticed it with a baby as well. As soon as we go outside in the pram or whatever and just go for a little walk, or just carrying him, like, you know, and just go for a little walk around, he's like flat out straight away with the fresh air and the cold, like, you know.
Yeah, I always think like I like the feeling of being all like cozy in bed in winter, whereas in summer I hate that feeling where you're like tossing and turning, like you've like chucked the covers off, but you're still, you know, when you're just
I don't like having thin sheets as well. I like the feeling of like a duvet, but when it's too hot, it's just like
and you're just
that or nothing for me.
And it's just like a bit sweaty. You're just like a bit sweaty, even though like you've pulled the covers off, you've only got like some little boxers on, or you might even be fully naked, but you're still just a bit sweaty. And it's like, man, it's horrible.
Not in a good way.
It's nice when you go like abroad and you go to like a hotel abroad or something,
and
it's like
the AC
and it's really hot outside, but you got like nice AC in the room, and you can set it to 18.
I love that.
To me, that's like that's a good temp.
I remember like after the ayahuasca ceremony, I was thinking, oh god, I've got to go like in back into the real world and stuff, and just getting into this, like I booked myself just a real lush hotel after for a couple of days, so I could just chill out rather than thinking, oh, I've got to do loads of traveling and stuff. And I went in there and it was so hot outside, blazing like jungle and like humid and everything, and just go into this real plush like hotel room and the AC, and I'm just there like got a bit of Netflix on and stuff, and it's like, this is how to chill out after a couple of crazy nights in the jungle.
Oh man, 100%. It sounds like the perfect way to like unwind after like something like that. Just like what a nice like chilled, like almost like a little pamp. A little bit of a pamp just to get you back to like normality before you like flew back to England. Yeah, that's one of the times where it's like you thank your like earlier self, because I'd like you know what I mean? I've done myself a solid. I didn't even have to like sort out the hotel and that. It's just like, right, taxi, drive me there. I've already booked it. I've already paid for it. One really nice thing that we'd actually did in the Lake District. This is like. Tell us about the hollybobs, man. I've been looking forward to hearing about it. Oh, it's good, man. Yeah, well, you know, we just like explored the Lake District basically, like explored mainly all like around like Lake Windermere, some amazing towns like Bowness, and just north of Windermere is this place called Grasmere, which is famous because it's where William Wordsworth, the famous sort of like poet, he moved there, and he died there. And he said it was there's a quote in Grasmere, and it says that William Wordsworth said it was the fairest place in the entire world, and it is insane. In all the lands. It is insane because we went there and it was like all snowy. It was like snowing while we were there, and it's like Grasmere was like wedged between like three just epic looking like snowy mountains. You know, like in Lord of the Rings, like when they're like climbing the mountains, it's like snowy mountains. They were literally like that. So it's like you're wedged, but this beautiful little scenic town with like cobbled streets and just like lovely little old church and cemetery and that. And it's just wedged between these three massive, like snowy mountains. That's like just north of Lake Windermere. Oh man, it was like stunning. But I was going to say a little bit like what you were saying about what a nice way to almost like come down after having your ayahuasca ceremony in Peru. It was like, obviously it was amazing the fact that it was so snowy while we were there, and it was like, but you know, it was like super cold. It was like averaging probably sort of about like 0, maybe -1. You know, thick snow. And then on the last day we were there, we went for probably like a 3-4 mile like walk in the snow in the morning. Real nice like circular route. the Airbnb we stayed at was like on top of a hill, just like real nice views on top of a hill in like the Lake District, and it was all snowy, and we found this nice circular route, so we did that nice sort of like 3-4 mile walk in the morning. Obviously it was really nice, but it was bloody cold, do you know what I mean? Like, it was bloody cold. And then we went out for the day. Again, had a really nice day out. Like, took Evie to this real nice zoo in the Lake District that had like snow leopards and Arctic foxes and like snowy owls and all the rest of it. But it was like a lot of the like the snow leopards and the Arctic foxes and that was all outside. And as I said, it was like bloody cold. And then we went up to Grasmere. Visited William Wordsworth's grave. It was all outside. Got some of the best gingerbread in the world.
Man, just on Wordsworth. Have you ever been to Wordsworth's house in Holford? He actually owned a house called Alfoxden Park.
Alfoxden Park?
Yeah, do you know Alfoxden Park?
Are you sure it's called Alfoxden Park?
Yeah, it's
okay.
It's a house.
Because there is
That's
a park
like right outside my house.
Yeah, there's a park in Durley called like an actual kids park called Alfoxden.
It's now a Buddhist like retreat centre or a Buddhist house.
I think I know the place you're on about.
Yeah, and it's just round the where we go to Holford. Like it's just around the corner from there. Yeah. And you go up, and there's a load of Buddhists that live in there, and but it was actual Wordsworth house. Like he had it as a home.
I didn't know that was William Wordsworth's place, but isn't that mad that I live around the corner from him, and then I went all the way up to
That's what it when you said, because I remember going there with I think it might have been Carmen at some point, and
probably
we went and checked it out, and started chatting to him.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember. It definitely is quite a special place, the Lake District and all around Windermere and that. And there's something about it, and I thought it's sort of like the proof's in the pudding, really. I think William Wordsworth was born in London, I want to say, but anyway, the fact that he chose that as his almost like forever home, that place. You know what I mean? And the same with Beatrix Potter. So Beatrix Potter, obviously one of the most famous sort of like child novelists maybe of all time. Obviously famous for Peter Rabbit and Taylor of Gloucester and loads of stuff. Anyway,
very inspirational place.
Yeah, she grew up in London, but she moved. She basically visited the Lake District and fell in love with the place, and then she bought a farm on the Lake District, and then she lived there for the rest of her life. And she really embraced the culture and everything. She even became a working farmer.
I watched a film about that actually, about Beatrix Potter and the actual paintings and stuff, and her drawings that she was it. Her drawings?
Oh, amazing!
Was it Peter Rabbit and all that stuff? Is that?
Yeah, probably. Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure she did all the illustrations for it as well.
Yeah.
But, we went to the Beatrix Potter Museum in Bowness, and that was actually amazing. It was them that wanted to go there, and I was a bit like, yeah, we'll go there. But I thought maybe it would almost just be a bit like walking around and just be some information about her life. But mate, it was like entering a little magical land. They basically had made this almost like this immersive experience where you walk through, and it was almost like you're entering the stories of Beatrix Potter. So it was there's these little badgers and
what
frogs
I heard as well with Beatrix
Potter
is that when she moved there and she bought the farm and that, a big part of it was to save the landscape of what she was.
She did that,
and I thought that was amazing to actually buy up all this
conservation
land,
basically,
to try and conserve it and not build anything on it and stuff, and I was like, fair shout,
she bought loads of land basically just so that people couldn't build anything on it.
Is that what the museum is now?
No. The museum is in the town of Bowness, which is a beautiful town. But I don't know exactly where in the Lake District her house was. But I saw pictures of it, and it was somewhere up on this hill sort of thing. Do you know what I mean? She had this big farm, and I know that she even used to enter farming competitions. Do you know what I mean? There's certain things I can't remember. It's I don't know, the best sheared sheep, or there's all these different things that farmers do. Could just be growing the best pumpkin that year. You know what I mean? But she got really into it, and she would enter all the competitions and stuff like that. And apparently used to do really well. But yeah, it is quite an amazing place. It almost doesn't feel like you're in England a bit when you're there sometimes. It's quite magical. You almost feel like you could convince yourself that you're in Switzerland for a minute or something like that.
Is it quite sparse as well? You go into big areas where you just can't. Yeah,
dude, ridiculously so. Probably the most rural part of the entire of England, I'd say.
Whoa. Oh, mate,
I mean, you've got Carlisle in the north west of Cumbria, which is a fair, a major settlement, but it's not a major settlement like Bristol's a major settlement. Do you know what I mean? It's it's really small still and quaint and beautiful. Do you know what I mean? It's not And like all the other towns are just these beautiful, quaint little towns, like cobbled streets and just like really nice stuff, like insane lakes, insane snowy peaked mountains, and just you can drive for frickin' ages, and it's all just through trees and in between mountains and hills and wilderness. Do you know what I mean? I definitely recommend a romp. Obviously, it's not that far from you either. You're like halfway.
I'm gagging to get there now.
Well, if you want, I'll send you the
was the Airbnb
the details
nice?
For the Airbnb.
Yeah,
it was really good, and it was a reasonable price as well.
Oh, nice. Did it have like a log burner in there or anything?
Unfortunately, it didn't. The only thing that I think the things that would have made it better was if it had a log burner and a hot tub. But at the end of the day, it was really cozy. It was really warm. It's a converted barn.
Ah, cool.
So it was all like like stone walls.
Yeah. Nice.
Wooden beams. The big open plan. Like nice kitchen with like oak sort of like worktops. Good kitchen. Everything's up to date and really clean. The shower was great. So it's like I can't fault it really. Yeah. We just wanted like a really good base. Do you know what I mean? To just explore the Lake District.
Yeah.
And I booked it fairly last minute as well. Do you know what I mean? So I thought, right, I'm not gonna. I didn't want to spend like 500 quid on like a 2-night stay. Do you know what I mean? I wanted something that was like pretty affordable, but still really nice. And it was rated nothing but 5-star reviews.
Oh, amazing!
So I was like, boom, I'm going for that one. And it was a good place because it's only like 10-15 minute drive from Lake Windermere. Loads of other good places like National Trusts nearby. There was like a zoo quite nearby. Do you know what I mean? It was very accessible to like lots of good places in the Lake District. So I thought like ticks the boxes really. Ticks all the boxes.
Nice.
And this is what I was going to say earlier on actually. I haven't even said it yet. So after that day where we went on like the big like long walk in the snow and it was really cold, and we walked around Grasmere and went around the zoo outside with the snow leopards and that. I found this real nice like leisure centre and hotel called the Swan, which was like just by Lake Windermere. It was like on the south of Lake Windermere, and I looked it up, and it had like swimming pool and jacuzzi and sauna and a steam room and that. So we went there at the end of the day. We went there at probably about like 4:00, and then it was like 25 quid for me and Em and Evie to just stay in there as long as we wanted. So we spent like 2.5 hours just like swimming in the pool, going in the hot tub, sauna, steam room.
Oh mate, that
was
sounds
great.
Epic.
After being out in like literally like -1 all day, like thick snow, like walking around in like in the snow all day, and a lot of it was like snowing while we were out walking as well. Do you know what I mean? So it was like. We were like pretty cold down to the bone by that point, and then to just suddenly get that way, just like getting like a
steam
like
just coming off you, like
yeah, man, to get in like a 40-degree freaking hot tub, and then like in a sauna and everything. But then they had like a freezing cold shower outside the sauna as well. So I was like getting in the sauna for a bit, freezing cold shower, jump in the pool, play in the pool with Evie for a while. That was like such almost like the perfect day.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean? The perfect combination of like exploring in the snow, and then just like having
did you have a fat steak after?
What did we have for dinner that night? No, we had a fusilli bolognese.
Oh, lovely!
We just cooked up like a load of just like nice sort of like hearty meal, like a nice warm meal. Went back to the Airbnb and just cooked that up, and it was real good.
Oh, cool! So you weren't staying. You weren't staying at the hotel. You just went for the
I just found a place that had like a real nice hot tub and swimming pool and everything like that. And then just like stopped in there on the way back, because it was sort of like on the way back to the
nice, man.
Airbnb as well, so it was like perfect, It was like just almost like the perfect way to end the day. But it was banging, man. Getting back to what we were saying earlier, though, man, just about like sort of like you're working out though, Bullwinkle. One thing that I did think was pretty cool was up until you got ill just before Christmas. That was like the first time I'd ever noticed like a physical, like a good physical difference in you.
Oh man, that's good to hear.
Definitely, like noticeably looking like more muscular in that. So I definitely think that's something you want to get back on again.
Yeah, I think going back to at the start where you asked us what our New Year's resolutions will be. I don't tend to give too much thought to like New Year's resolutions, but I do always have like a lot of stuff that I want to do throughout the year. So like. This year I really want to go do like a half marathon, or maybe even a marathon at some point, because I feel like if you're doing half, you may as well go and do the full thing, But yeah, I'd like to. I think one of my other things is like I would like to have at the very least a good 6-month period of just head down, like doing the workout plan that we were talking about, like, you know, really good diet, which I had sort of over that 2-month period.
Yeah, you were being really way more dedicated as well. You'd like come in with like a little prepped lunch.
Yeah,
and I was like, wow, this is different.
And man, I was loving it. You know, like, it's funny how quickly it turns into, like, at the moment, even just having like 3 weeks off, I suppose. It's instantly more of a thing to go, but I know I do really want to go again, so I know I will. But when you were like going every day, it was a thing of, I couldn't wait to get to the gym every day. You know, like it was non-negotiable. It was just like, right, part of my day is I'm going to be there for like an hour or an hour and a half, and I'm going to get that done. And that was like almost having that, I think for me as well, because there's never a constant hobby that I tend to be doing. You know, maybe I'm into golf for like a couple months and I'm like really head into that, or like maybe I'm doing football for a little bit. But to just have that consistent every single day, go into the gym, you know, and that is your hobby, that is your thing you're doing.
I think it's more almost like a lifestyle.
It adds more of a structure to your life, definitely.
Yeah.
So yeah, I can't wait to get back into it, man.
Yeah, man, super cool. Super cool, man. Changing the subject quite radically. Did you guys by any chance see what freaking that big video that Mark Zuckerberg put out on Instagram?
I heard something about it, about that he's changing the way that Facebook does. Is that
and Instagram is run?
Yeah,
I haven't that's
heard
it.
Anything about this?
I thought it sounded like really freaking good, man. Like really positive changes. So he's like,
I need to change my ways and not get so woke and not get so controlling of like the things.
Yeah, and to be fair, I thought it was, you know, obviously I'm like being trusting when I say this, but I thought, like, you know, fair play, I can see what he was getting at. So like I watched the whole video, and he basically said that, like, obviously he originally wanted like Facebook and then Insta, when he took that over as well, was to be like a place where people could just like share information in like a safe and fun way and just connect people. And then he said obviously the more it grew, one thing that became a priority of his is that there's obviously certain things you want to do, and he said that he wanted to make sure that children couldn't be exploited, that like the black market couldn't really operate on his programs, and things like that. So he said that they would then start incorporating things into the algorithms and stuff to then try and make sure that things like that were censored. But he said the problem is with AI is it doesn't understand nuance sometimes, and it can't differentiate between things. And one thing that's obviously been growing, especially in the last couple of years, is that people are getting like their pages taken down and getting content taken down, and there's nothing wrong with it.
Even Meg like dancing in the living room fully clothed, like not even with shorts on, but like with things. I remember that got taken down off mine, and I was like, what? Man,
a couple of days before Christmas, the AW Radio Instagram account got taken down because they said of like inappropriate like content, and it was Claire's Tarot Tuesday post.
That's crazy.
And apparently it was like something like because it was like inappropriate symbolism on it. And it was like, what the hell?
That's mental.
Because there's like some like I think there's like a is there like, I don't know, it's like there's like esoteric symbols essentially, like almost like little varying symbols obviously on the Tarot Tuesdays graphic. To make it so people obviously know that it's like a mystical show. Might have been Mystical, not Tarot Tuesdays, but either way. And yeah, so we appealed it, and then luckily they overturned it. But it was like, even that, I was like, that is mental. Do you know what I mean? That's like absolutely crazy that something like that's happened. But anyway, he said that you know, he was like concerned with like the whole like freedom of speech, like blocking people's freedom of speech, and he said that he feel like in the last couple of years. He's like slowly been waking up to like, you know, people that are trying to like, you know, like suffocate freedom of speech and stuff like that. And he says that he feels like America's in a turning point now with everything that's going on in the government and stuff like that. And he wanted to embrace that and be a part of that rather than. So he basically said that they're going to completely like change. Yeah, they're going to completely change the way that Facebook and Instagram is going to be done, and just like make it like a way freer place. And he even said that he was like inspired by Elon Musk with X. With like Twitter and stuff like that, and he wanted to make it like more like that. And I thought fair shout. I thought, do you know what, fair shout? Because I've always sort of like Mark Zuckerberg is just a little bit of like a weirdo. Do you know what I mean? Almost like a bit of a weirdo, and almost like just a bit of like a weirdo sort of like dweeb slash
on that hype like, thing of like censoring and like also like where the government were like putting pressure on like places to like take things down and that as well. I thought
to even
Facebook
like give
was a high one of those.
Information. Yeah, it's like, and also to like give away people's like private information and stuff like that, which is like super corrupt, isn't it? But I thought, fair shout. My estimation, my opinion of Mark Zuckerberg's gone up, because I thought, I could see like everything he said made sense to me. You know what I mean? I thought, fair shout.
Have you seen the crazy things as well, that like, because I'm on X and stuff, like, and I just see Elon Musk like tweets like all the time, and like he's like going to town on the UK at the moment, just like every tweet, and just saying about like how much like he hates Keir Starmer and stuff, and like and about all
if
this,
you
like,
are a fan of Keir Starmer,
thing.
You want to get your head checked.
You want to get
your freaking head checked.
The covered up rape thing with kids in the UK. I don't know much about it, but like apparently all of it was like covered up for years and stuff, and like he's just putting loads of posts out about it all the time, And
man, to be honest, it's been like sort of quietly. It's been on my radar for a few years now. That whole thing with like the rape gangs.
Because I don't know anything about it, but it's all coming out of the woodwork now, like heavy. It seems.
You guys know me. I'm not like Mr. Conspiracy Theory, but I do think that there is a bit of a cover up going on with all that stuff. And I think some of it is tied to like wokeism. I think it's tied to like not wanting to make out that like some of these rape gangs are from ethnic minorities, if you want to call them that, immigrants, right? And then because people are so PC and so woke nowadays, they're scared to apply the same laws that would be applied to normal, when I say normal, indigenous white British people. They're scared of applying the same laws to these people as they would to white indigenous British people, because they are more worried about coming across as racist or whatever
Islamophobic
than they are about protecting fricking kids. And I think that is clearly a massive problem, and that's ridiculous. And I think the massive problem I have with like wokeism and stuff, right, is that it masquerades itself as being pro-equality, but it's the opposite.
It is the opposite.
It's the absolute opposite of that. It's very simple, right? If you are pro-equality, you literally treat everybody equally. That means that regardless of whether you are a white woman, a black man, an Asian woman, an Arabic man, whatever, we are all judged and treated equally. So if one of us is caught speeding 5 miles over the limit, we're going to get treated the same. If one of us breaks any law, we're all treated the same. If any of us go for a job interview, we all have an equal chance of getting that job, and we're all based individually on merit, not on anything else. That is the only way to have an equal society. If you are literally letting certain people get away with such heinous crimes as potential rape of minors, right? And you're letting them get away with that because you're scared of being seen as racist.
It's just even a ridiculous concept, isn't it?
It's maddening almost.
Yeah.
You think about it and you're like, what the hell is happening to the country?
Yeah.
What is that? And the thing is, and I don't want people to, get overly paranoid and get scared, listen to these things and think that it's happening absolutely everywhere. Because I don't think it's happening absolutely everywhere. But I do think it is happening at least a bit. And even if it happens once, that's one time too much. It's up to us as like the adults of the country now to try and make sure that our kids are safe and that people are safe in general. You shouldn't have to worry about walking down the street and getting stabbed. You shouldn't have to worry that your kids might get groomed by some frickin' people that are trying to frickin' potentially rape them. Do you know what I mean? It's like we shouldn't have to worry about this, and it's our job to make sure that our society is safe.
Yeah, I was reading this story about this guy. I hadn't heard about it before. Who got murdered in Scotland, and it was there was these two guys in there, and a group captured them that were like a Muslim group of guys, and one of them got away, but the other one literally got taken to the middle of nowhere and his eyes gouged out, completely tortured for hours, cigarettes burnt in him and that, and just completely. Mental. And then they made a task force in Glasgow that was going to target some of these gangs and stuff, and the task task force got disbanded because of that reason of like not wanting to look like they were targeting a certain like part of the community.
Can you actually believe
and
that,
I was like, what? No, that's
that?
obviously happened. That someone's like died and been tortured. Like, do you normally hear about stuff like that unless it's like a mafia job or something?
and what message are you sending by not like reprimanding and punishing people for doing that? You're sending the message that it's okay, right. You can do it, you can get away with it, just do it again then. You know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, you know, like, unfortunately not everyone shares our values, shares like, you know, values of, when I say our values, the values I'm talking about is like, you know, unless like we're human beings, right? We're emotional creatures, right? There are sometimes people might hurt our feelings, hurt us, hurt our loved ones, and we will feel aggressive towards that person, right? That's natural, right? Obviously it's up to us to try and use our self-control and our brains to try and handle and go about these situations as best as you know, as best as we can, right? But unfortunately, there are some people out there, like Michael Caine says in Batman, they just want to watch the world burn, you know. And you know, unfortunately these people.
That's a really good impression, by the way.
Thanks, man. I love Michael Caine, but you know, it's like you can't like. If you are letting these people, that literally their only way to stop those sorts of people from not doing bad things is for them to be afraid of of the consequences. So that could be, you know, like, oh, you know, obviously spending your life in frickin' prison, for example, or in some countries, even frickin' in some states in the US, they still have the death penalty, which I know this, which, you know, like I think that the death penalty, I think that is something that I think we're conditioned to think the death penalty immediately, that's completely inhumane and we should do that, right, ever again. And I think that I would have thought that as well when I was, say, 20. The older I get, I think, you look at some of the issues we have in certain places in the world with like overcrowded prisons, repeat offenders. You're talking about,
it's a good deterrent, isn't it?
You're talking about, mate, yeah, and you're talking about career criminals, people that are almost like treating, you know, that are like career criminals. They have no intention of ever rehabilitating themselves and ever becoming functioning members of society, right? And I'm not even saying sometimes that that's their fault, right? But if you are literally, your normal way of life is to think that it's okay to like abuse people, maybe even rape and murder people, you know, you have such a twisted conscience that you could say break into, say, a grandmother, say you're like some old lady that lives alone, right? Your husband's passed away or he's in a home somewhere, right? If you've got such a twisted conscience that you could break into that house, steal from that woman, and if she tries to stop you, you could assault her, right, and then leave, then in my mind you're so far gone, right, that at what point is it more ethical?
You need a hard reset. Go back up to soul level to reincarnate again and try it again. At what point is it more ethical? Like, think it's a drain on the state. It's a drain on taxpayers' money, on decent people's money, and also it's like if you're potentially going to let them out in the future, it's just a matter of time until somebody else gets abused, somebody else gets assaulted, somebody else potentially even gets murdered, or potentially even gets raped, and you're ruining that person's life. You're ruining their family's life potentially. I just think it's almost that thing for that kind of thing.
it's that whole thing, isn't it? It'll be like, would you kill one person to save 300 people? And when you think of it as like a clear philosophical moral dilemma like that, like, of course killing that one person is really hard and awful to do, but part of being an adult is making uncomfortable decisions and doing things that are hard to do, that you don't want to do. If you were the sort of person that enjoyed killing a murderer or a rapist, then I would think that person was also effed up, you know, a bit twisted, right?
But I also know if anything was personal for me, like I can see how someone could easily do that. Like,
imagine if you heard suddenly that your mum or your missus
that's what I mean.
was killed in some scenario, right? And then you found out that the person that did it had a history of like extreme violence, of brutally assaulting people, maybe even killing people or sexually assaulting people, whatever, and our country, your country, had let you down and had let this person back out into the public when they shouldn't have done, and then as a result your mum or your missus died, right, or whatever, or was like savagely assaulted, you know, that is a failing of the state. How would you not feel like your country had let you down, and how would you not feel like the most insane anger towards that person then? You know, and you would want them to die, wouldn't you? Yeah. I think if anyone that says they wouldn't is either lying or like, I just don't even understand how you could not like feel. I think
that's the only thing that could ever drive me to actually wanting to like kill someone is if it was something that someone had done to someone I love, you know. Like for me, I don't even think like I don't know. I can't imagine. I don't know. Do you know what I mean? But it's for me. It's other people that I care about. Like I hate the thought of something happening to them, and to think that this has happened to people all over the world, all over the UK, and that. You know, it's like, oh man, it's so savage. Like what families must go through and stuff. You know.
I know it's crazy, and it's a bit like one of those things, isn't it? It's almost like sometimes people can sort of like have the blinkers on a little bit, and we're a bit like, well, you know, as long as it's not happening to me, it doesn't feel real. You know, but there are, as you said, Drew, there are people out there that these things have happened to them. They don't have the luxury of being like, well, it hasn't happened to me.
Like the 3 little girls that were stabbed, like recently and stuff. You know, just
like it was in Cardiff, I think, wasn't it? Like what in that studio where that guy just went in and just like started stabbing kids and stuff, and like
killed 3 little girls. And you look at their pictures together, and they're just these 3 beautiful little girls. You know, like from
we have a problem developing in this country. You know, and I'm not blaming any one person for it or any. You know,
but it's happening, and it needs to stop happening.
There's lots of different reasons why it's happening, and they're all bad. Do you know what I mean? So I'm not blaming like one specific like group of people or anything like that. But it's like, was it even yesterday? I heard some guy some 14-year-old kid got stabbed to death on a bus in London. That was just yesterday. I was just like flicking through YouTube, and it was just came up. Do you know what I mean? It was like on the news section of YouTube, and I was like, what the hell? I was thinking back to when I was like a 14-year-old lad, and then just like almost like imagining that I would just be on a bus on my way to Taunton or something, and then someone would just stab me to death for what? You know what I mean? Like for what? I mean, I don't know what the 14-year-old kid did, if it was completely unprovoked or whether he just like said something a bit snide or something like that. But regardless of what he did, I can't imagine it warranted him getting stabbed to death on a bus. Do you know what I mean? It's like, I think it concerns me what's happening in this country, and I think it's concerning a lot of people, and I think Keir Starmer and the Labour government really aren't helping by any means with everything with the farmers, with everything with the pensioners and the heating stuff. You know, some of the things that they're bringing in. Obviously, you know, and I think what's making it even worse is not only are people getting away with some of the things that we've been talking about for the last 10-15 minutes, but then on the other hand, you've now got people getting arrested for Facebook posts and Twitter posts. When
you compare some of the sentences of like like the rapes and stuff, what they got compared to like what people got putting a post up, like some people got like 7 years in prison for putting a post up on like Facebook.
How can you like logically and ethically and morally like put some working class decent dad who's like, say, I don't know, like a plumber or an electrician in jail for 7 years for writing like a slightly controversial Facebook or Twitter post under the grounds that like it's made somebody feel anxious or it's made somebody feel bad or it's inappropriate. You could put them in jail for like 7 years, but as you said, you're not gonna hold somebody accountable for like gouging somebody's eyes out in the middle of Scotland or whatever. Do you know what I mean? It's like, what the hell? Like, there's no logical, sane human being that's going to listen to that and think, yeah, that makes sense. I'm all cool with that. I'm cool with that.
That's what I don't get. Like, how there's things like that going on in our country, you know, and it's just like it's just happening, you know.
Yeah.
And it's like, man, yeah. Things definitely gonna cook up a bit, aren't they? Have you seen the thing about like the reform numbers and that? I'm trying to find the actual amount, but haven't like the amount of members of reform like skyrocketed over the last like
Conservative now,
yeah,
I think.
I thought that was pretty mad. So that's like seems to be like, you know, the amount of actual active members in the UK is going up like exponentially and stuff.
The thing is as well, and I think regardless of you know, because I think we all have different connotations with different political classes and like, you know, things like that. But taking away the actual official party of like the Reform Party, right? Even if you don't like the actual Reform Party, surely every sane person must realise that we need reform in this country. I don't mean the Reform Party, I mean reform, like the definition of the word reform. Things have gotten so messed up that at this stage it's easier almost just to like scrap everything and build a new system.
Kind of like what they're doing in America.
Yeah, rather than try and just tweak what's already there, because what we've had now, we have messed it up so much. It's almost like, I don't know, a guy at home that's like knows a little bit of DIY, but he's not really that good, and he's tried to fix something a million times, and now the thing he's tried to fix is so messed up, it's just easier to get rid of whatever he's trying to fix and just to buy a new one. Do you know what I mean? That's almost like my analogy. Do you know what I mean? It's like the system's like broken. System's failed. It's failing the people. It's failing like normal taxpayers, just like normal decent families and stuff like that. It's all screwed up. And I think especially if it's not affected you personally, then obviously I'm really glad about that. I really hope it doesn't affect anybody. That's that's my whole point. But if it hasn't affected you and you're just thinking it's okay because I haven't been affected and I've got the blinkers on or whatever, then that's good for you. But there are all these people out there, as we said, that have been affected, and you never know, that could be you.
And it's almost just like a shape of a way that the country's going as well. Like,
and the more we let these things happen, the more likelihood that it is going to happen to more and more people. So it could affect you. Do you know what I mean? And I don't want to have that whole sort of like ignorance is bliss approach to it. Unfortunately, as I said, we are sort of like the adults of this generation now. It's up to us, especially say for people like me and you, Drew, who now have kids of our own, to make sure that our kids grow up in a safe country where they're treated equally and that they're safe, and that people aren't going to get away with committing awful crimes against them just because of the colour of their skin or because of some other political nonsense. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's just a little bit worrying, really, isn't it? I think that's the thing. As I said, we should all be treated equally. Every single person should be treated equally. And there's nothing wrong with immigration. There's nothing wrong with immigrants. But there is something wrong with illegal immigration for that same reason: equality. Why is it that if I wanted to move to the United States of America, say, or if I wanted to move to Norway or any other country on the earth, I would go through the normal processes. I would respect I'd respect the people of that country, and I'd respect the government of that country, and understand that there would be a process and a certain amount of time that would have to, that I would have to wait to go through all these different processes, all this documentation, all the rest of it, to then hopefully become a member of that society legally. I wouldn't just hop over there and then hide in somebody's like garage or something like that, and then just, do you know what I mean? And then try and claim I was a victim. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's just not the way you do things. Yet again, equality means equality, right? If one rule for one guy needs to be the same rule for everybody. 100%. If one person's going to get convicted of a crime, then everybody should be convicted of a crime. Yeah. If no one's going to be convicted of a crime, then no one should be convicted of a crime. Everyone should be treated equally, regardless of race, colour, creed, sex, But we need to end all this frickin' nonsense, man, end all the frickin' just the absolute madness that's going on in certain places in the West at the moment. 100%.
Have you seen Tate as well has created a political party, and he's actually running for Prime Minister in the UK? I was
in the UK?
In the UK.
In the UK?
Yeah, man.
He's a Romanian citizen nowadays, isn't he?
I don't know. I think he's got UK citizenship as well. I
guess because he was born. Well. Yeah, he was born in the UK.
But I saw that because of. I almost think it is a bit funny. Like, it's almost like all of these celebrities jumping on the bandwagon a bit. Like Conor McGregor. Didn't he try and do it in Ireland as well? He was trying to like.
I would not be surprised, but obviously he's But then it
all
came
started
out
with Varney. And then like, do you know what I mean? Yeah. And it seems to be like more of these like celebrities or public figures and stuff are like thinking. But yeah, Tate is and is it Andrew Tate? Yeah,
Tate,
he's not Aaron Tate. Old friend. It's he's
Aaron Tate's running for Prime Minister.
Yeah, he's currently doing it all at the moment. He's filed all the legal stuff, and his political party is called Bruv.
Mate, for God's sake.
And he's running for Prime Minister, but he's saying even if he doesn't get it, it's going to create this whole movement of like it's more about that, like trying to create change in the country because of like all this crazy stuff that's happening and that, you know. But like it sounds a bit mental. I haven't looked too much into it, but I just don't
trust him enough, and there's too many there's certain red flags with Andrew Tate, there's certain question marks.
I think the worry is that he'll make a caricature of the actual issues that are ongoing.
Yeah, and I also feel like I don't know. I sometimes feel like some of his opinions are just like a bit over the top, like almost like a bit silly, maybe like ill thought out.
It's like so extreme with the things he says. It's like he almost does it for that. Like I'm on his Telegram group, and you can't write on it, and he just writes stuff, and some of it is just like he's like. We'll just say like real derogatory stuff to like everyone on the group and be like, because you're not doing anything about life, like you are a complete loser, you'll never be as good as me, I've got this and you are a complete loser, now get to it.
At the end of the day, that's just negative, isn't it?
It's like, alright mate, calm down.
I think anybody that's I think on almost like a very basic level, I think if you just try and strip it down to like positivity and negativity, I think that anybody that's like on a consistent basis putting out negativity, I think that becomes a problem. And I think that's one of the problems with the Labour Party. I think that's one of the problems with Keir Starmer and Angela Rayner and all them lot. It's like I would accuse them of the same thing. It's too negative. Regardless of whether they're trying to be negative or not. Everything they've done to the farmers is negative. Everything they've done to the pensioners is negative. Everything they're doing with their like freaking freedom of speech laws online and stuff is negative. It's
and to negative. Just brush off the thing of like there was that thing that everyone signed, the change.org or whatever, of where like
the petition that got over like 3 million.
And
3 million
and when it was commented on, like that should have been taken seriously, even if it wasn't. If it didn't happen, he completely brushed it off.
Still building.
in his response was just like, oh yeah, I can imagine some people do want that, but that's not the way our government works. You know what I mean? Just completely brushed it off, rather than he didn't see it as a big thing that the people wanted, but like the people obviously do want that, you know. So at least take it seriously and have respect for that, rather than just almost like just brushing it off. You know, it is a big thing. It's not a little thing.
100%, man, 100%. And at the end of the day, as far as I'm aware, it's unprecedented. I'm not sure if literally within several months, just like a couple of months of a guy being prime minister, a guy or gal being prime minister, they've ever had that sort of like response ever. Do you know what I mean? Like, as far as I'm aware. So yeah, I do think it's a big thing. But I mean, I don't know. A lot of people are saying, aren't they, that they think that he's going to be like forced out of the government, like at some point, like maybe even soonish. I know that even like a lot of Labour backbenchers and stuff like that, I think like even like over 100 Labour MPs have said that they don't support him as prime minister anymore. That's his own party. That's mad, isn't it? That's his own party. Talk about crazy. A vote of no confidence. Talk about a vote of no confidence. But yeah, I mean,
it's 3,023,944 votes for that.
Wow,
that's quite a lot, isn't it? I remember I signed it when it was 150,000.
Did you? I can't remember how many it was when I signed it, but yeah, it wasn't like wasn't anywhere near
over
that.
3 million.
Anywhere near that. Yeah. But yeah, I think you know, one of the worst things about the current Labour government as well is that like it's just typical, almost like the worst stereotype of what you think of when you think of like the government or the politics and that, and what I mean by that is like they're just liars essentially. So like everything that they said that they would do, you know, in their campaign to get into government, they just basically lied about. It was all just like, do you know what I mean? It's like saying to somebody, it's like saying, oh well, you know, it's like saying like, you know, if you're a single guy and you say to some girl like, oh well, you know, if you go out with me, I'll take you on a holiday once
promises.
A month. And we'll do this and we'll do that, and then you go at them and you go, oh yeah, but you know, I can't this month because of this, and I can't next month either because of that. But obviously, I want to, but it's not as simple as that. But it's like, no, at the end of the day, if you promise somebody something, you should do it, and if not, then how can you expect anyone to take anything you say seriously? You know, it's just empty words, isn't it? It's just emptiness, like. So yeah, man, I have no faith in the current government whatsoever. Have you heard talking about like Trump and that? Have you heard what? Did you hear about Justin Trudeau?
Oh yeah, I was going to.
That's really good.
Stood down, yeah, that's crazy, isn't it?
Because he was a right freaking. I couldn't stand.
We're talking about woke stuff and that.
He was in for a long time, wasn't he? Trudeau.
Yeah, he was in for a long time. Yeah, but I think he was almost like. you know, people were almost like concerned that almost like maybe he wouldn't step down or something. But like, yeah, he was a right frickin' like woke numpty as well, wasn't he? He was some of the things that he imposed in Canada and all that stuff with like
just shutting down
the truck drivers and
shutting
the
down
bank accounts. And I cannot believe how immoral that was. And awful. I think Justin Trudeau's government. So I'm glad that he stepped down. Did you hear what Trump said about? I don't know.
Canada into the
UK. Making Canada, making Canada the 51st state.
Yeah,
I don't know. Like the thing is, I didn't read it sort of like in
and
context.
then I saw Joe Rogan say, "Let Mexico in as well."
Mexico, yeah. And he said about Greenland as well.
Oh yeah,
Trump was saying about Greenland as well. Yeah. So he's like saying about freaking Greenland. I mean, the thing is, let's face it, like 99% chance that Canada is not going to become the 51st US state. But in a way, I was thinking about it, and I was like, I reckon that'd be quite good, actually. Like, from my point of view. Because, obviously, that's the interesting thing about America, isn't it? Like, it's the United States. So, in a way, it's almost like every state is its own country. So, they have their own laws and everything like that.
Exactly, yeah.
But then they all have to abide by what's called, you know, federal law. Which is like, you know... but I think that's quite good, you know. So, like, Texas is like a completely different country from... state than California. And California is a completely different state than Montana. And Montana is a completely different state from New York. And it's really cool, and it gives them a really vibrant culture. But they're united. They're all like the same countrymen, but it's almost like their state. They're almost like these mini countries making up a bigger country. And I almost like couldn't help but think.
I almost see like Canada as that anyway, like as a part of the United States, where it's like so. Like,
well, they're right on the. Well, they live next to each other. They have a lot of similarities. Do you know what I mean their accents are similar?
And I think America was sending a lot of money to.
Because Trump was saying like we'll end the tariffs, we'll end the tariffs and all the and all the, you know, the taxes and stuff like that. He was like basically trying to convince the Canadian people to be better, and obviously in terms of that would be better if they weren't taxing them and taking away the tariffs and stuff. I also just in like visually.
It makes sense.
I like the idea because you know that obviously Alaska is an American state, but it's not landlocked with the rest of the US, is it?
Oh,
you've got like the United States, and then you've got Canada, and then Alaska is like off. If you were looking at a map, Alaska is like to the northwest of
the biggest
Canada.
State as well.
It's the biggest state, and it's to the northwest of Canada. So they're not actually like connected to the rest of the United States, which is kind of mental. And in my mind, I like the idea that it would all be like joined.
I know what you mean.
You know? Joined,
like landlocked.
Yeah.
Oh yes, like a little Pangea.
Yeah, but I mean, who knows? I mean, there's certainly some mental stuff going on in the world. We'll have to see how it pans out, won't we?
2025 is going to be a crazy year, and we started it now.
Yeah, imagine how mental it would be if enough Canadians did actually like just start like saying like, yeah, actually no, we do want to be the 51st state. That'd be mental.
Especially when if like some like things start happening really good, like when President Trump is actually inaugurated on the 20th, and then just like the first few months after that, if there's like these really positive changes happening, and like, you know, the economy picks up and like loads of stuff changes, then Canada will probably, I want to pay that.
Yeah. Knowing Trump, he'll probably put in some crazy incentive like,
I'll give you $50,000 a pop. Every citizen will get $50,000.
Everyone will get a Chevrolet, a Chevrolet Impala, or a Dodge Charger.
Yeah,
you pick, or a Ford. You know, just like he'll like offer some cool American sports car with it
to every citizen.
Yeah, you want a Corvette?
Who votes yes?
A Corvette for everybody that joins America.
We're gonna have so much money from the tariffs.
Mate, I'd be sold. I'd be like, mate, let's become the 52nd state.
Yeah.
I want a Corvette.
Yeah, I want a Dodge Charger.
Yeah, man. Yeah, Dodge Charger. They look well cool, don't they? They look freaking well meaty. Yeah, I love it.
It's crazy, isn't it?
Yeah. And he said and didn't he say he's going to take the Panama Canal back as well or something? Which is the moment I think, like technically
Chinese?
in Mexico, but he just said no.
Didn't I hear
Chinese?
Didn't I hear about something about like China, like China owns quite a lot of it or something? I don't know. That might be just like absolute rubbish.
Panama Canal is technically in Mexico, I think. Let's have a look. Panama Canal. It's a waterway. It's an artificial 82-kilometre waterway in Panama that connects the Caribbean Sea with the Pacific Ocean. It cuts across the narrowest point of the Isthmus of Panama and is a conduit for maritime trade between the Atlantic and Pacific Oceans. Yeah, but where is it, my good man?
It's owned by the Panamanian government-owned Panama Canal Authority.
Oh, it's like in between. It's in between Colombia and Costa Rica.
What's the one between? Is it between Africa and Europe? It like separates that part of the country, and all the ships have to go through that one part.
Oh yeah, I can't remember what it's
Otherwise,
called.
they'd have to literally go all the way under.
Yeah, every now and
Africa.
again you hear about like a massive ship that gets like stuck down there.
Yeah, and it just stops. It like delays everything.
Yeah, I can't remember what it's called, but yeah, that's another one. But yeah, interesting to see. As we said, see what happens in 2025. It'll be mental.
And all the UFO stuff that's been going on as well, like all the UFO sightings over everywhere.
I listened to what's his name? That cool documentary guy. I listened to the No. The guy that makes. We've talked about him before because we've definitely talked about him on the pod before. But Joe Rogan recently had the documentary UFO guy as a guest recently. What was his name?
The one who made that documentary.
Yeah, the one that made the documentary,
okay,
and he's like, dedicated his life to like looking a lot of it up, and it's all like the stories in Brazil and all the rest of it.
Oh yeah,
he's bringing out a new documentary, and it's like crazy.
Because there's been so many again over, and a lot of them over like military bases and stuff in the US.
Yes, they were talking about it a lot on the pod, man. James Fox, that's it. James Fox. James Fox is a UFO investigator and documentary filmmaker.
Man,
he's got a new film coming out called The Program, which is available now apparently. But yeah, he goes on to basically about how because all the drones, the massive drones that have been floated around above American cities, and some of them apparently are at the size of large SUVs.
That's insane.
Imagine a drone the size of my freaking car floating over your house.
Yeah.
Like a helicopter at that point.
and people and the American government are like openly like, yeah, it's not us. We don't even have drones that size. Like we don't know what it is. And stuff like
that is crazy.
But it's even more ambiguous because apparently they're just really saying it's like, yeah, we don't believe they're hostile. But it's like, what?
Have you
watched the documentary?
No.
We should watch the documentary for an episode, and then we'll just come in and like all talk about it.
£3.49 on Prime Video. So I'm gonna rent it. Or you can buy it for $13.99.
Oh mate, I'll probably rent it.
Yeah, I'll rent it.
But then you just got the pressure. You got to watch it within 24 hours.
Yeah.
Better watch it. I might watch it tonight actually.
I think we should all watch it and all come in and make notes and talk about it.
Yeah, I'll wait until Em's gone to bed and then I'm just gonna go balls deep in freaking Aliens.
Put on your tinfoil hat.
I'll be like popping into the kitchen to get like a quick drink before bed, and I'll be like freaking an alien in the kitchen and that looking over my shoulder.
Because what if that happened? If it is like there are like loads and loads more sightings and they're just gonna keep coming and keep coming. Like what if like the next thing over the next few years is like full disclosure and stuff like that'd be pretty mental. And it's just like that changed the world a bit.
It is mental. I do love how in our lifetime aliens have gone.
Yeah,
it's quite cool.
It's gone from, aliens have gone from a thing that's like, yeah, that's blatantly not real, mate. Yeah, okay, yeah, and then freaking the Loch Ness Monster's real as well, mate. And then all of a sudden it's like, oh yeah, actually they probably are. Actually,
yeah, and like crazy. There could be disclosure this year.
Oh, mate.
I saw a post, and I don't know how real it was, but I thought it was pretty interesting. I think I like saw it, and I was like, what? And then my feed just refreshed, and I lost it forever.
Right.
But it was saying about a planet they discovered that has artificial light on it.
Oh, really?
Something like that. It was like 4 light years away,
I haven't heard anything,
and there was like artificial light on the planet, which
I haven't heard anything about that, but
light that has been made.
Yeah, that sounds pretty crazy, man.
Yeah.
So I haven't heard anything about that, but I mean that's absolutely mad if that is the case, isn't it? That is absolutely mad. Yeah, crazy. Did you hear about that Brazilian tribe? And they were asked. I don't know who asked them. They were asked if they'd ever heard of aliens before, and they said no, they didn't understand. But then whichever Westerner, like American or European, went there, started showing them pictures of like greys, what we would consider like the grey aliens. And then apparently as soon as they were showing a picture of an alien grey, they said they recognised it immediately and said, oh yeah, that is Mankanua Waba. And then they had a name for it, like Mankanua Waba. And then they were like, yeah, they live underground. They live under the ground in the forest. They were like, they've got bases under the ground. And they were just like, yeah, like just really matter of fact. They were like, no, we don't understand the word alien. But then as soon as they were showing a picture of a grey, they were like, oh yes, Mankanua Waba. They live under the ground. They've got bases under the ground. And a lot of these a lot of these sightings, whether it's like the David Fravor sightings or a lot of the other UFO stuff,
go into the sea and stuff, don't they? Like,
yeah. They're saying that they come out of the sea and come out of these different bases.
Or even
so
mountains
it makes me,
as well. You see them going
some of
into
them people
mountains
say
and
mountains.
stuff. Yeah.
I think that there's like some like reports that in the Appalachian Mountains, which are like obviously like very ancient, certain like things have got like coming in and out of them as well. But
God.
I think it makes sense, doesn't it? Like if you were going to hide anywhere, you'd hide in the middle of the frickin' sea.
And if you've
what a cool like plot twist, by the way.
Yeah.
Like, this whole time we thought like aliens were out there somewhere in space,
And
but they were below us all
already here.
along.
They're like it's like the frickin' it's like the frickin' Gungan city in the Phantom Menace.
Yeah, exactly.
Do you know what I mean? You know, like Star Wars Phantom Menace, they have to like travel right through the planet, like the under the water. And
Like
then
if Jar Jar Binks was the first alien that came and made contact.
Oh my god, that would ruin it for me. That would ruin it for me.
Remember that story as well of like the general that is it World War II time or something where he went to the North Pole. And then there was just this this.
I don't know if it's World War II, but I know what you're on about.
Like really old, and like he was saying about like they went on this mission like right to like to get to like the middle of the North Pole or Antarctica or whatever, and there was this like there was these like UFOs that came out from like somewhere there, and then
he said that he actually saw them.
Yeah, and like come near the ships and stuff, and then he apparently went down to like into the earth, like down into like some craters and like there's the whole story about it. That'd be you should research that, man, because it's like really interesting, and it's like basically saying about this whole underground base thing, and that there's a hot light, and they're just nuts. There in the middle of nowhere because no one like from the human race is just like lives there or anything, and they can kind of just do what they want, but they've got this whole like society underground.
That sounds crazy, man. I did hear about this. Man. I did hear about this like extreme explorer that I think was exploring Antarctica. I don't know if it was I think it was Antarctica, and he came across this almost like perfectly spherical hole in the ground, and I think he even took a picture of it, and he like reported it back, and then apparently within like a week he died.
Whoa.
Yeah, and I think it might have even like been like he died of like some like poisoning or something like that. But
perfectly spherical.
Yeah.
This was with this guy who was a general. It was saying about this hole as well, like this. Like getting to that place when that goes to the center of the earth, or like underground. Mate, that'd be so cool if that's there.
Oh man, it'd be nuts.
We should go.
Oh, we should.
We should go on a Pandora's box expedition.
What an man, we'd probably regret that.
That'd probably be the end.
Man, if I'm cold here, I think I'm not sleeping over there.
Yeah, man.
One thing that I thought was really cool, like just like looking at all this stuff with like disclosure and that, someone was saying that one of the first things that would be revealed to us when we actually have full contact with alien species and that is an actual fully documented like truth about our history, and like all of this stuff that we just don't know. Like they've obviously got the technology to be able to, or they've been looking at it, that they've been kind of watching us and analysing us for so many thousands of years that in their historical records they have the whole historical record of Earth. And I'm like,
that'd be pretty cool.
You know what I mean? Like if there are species out there that are millions of years more advanced to us in different parts of the universe and that, like they've got all of the data there, and they've got all of the stuff. So we would, all these questions that we've had about like where we come from and like what, like all the stuff we've talked about with like ancient monuments and like how that's like the pyramids and that, we just like know all of that. That'd be so cool.
That would be super.
What a day to be alive that would be.
Yeah,
man. Can you?
So cool.
If anything has been watching out there for that long, that's like more advanced than us,
Man, it is absolutely mental. Like what's going on the planet at the moment. It's actually almost like it's actually insane, isn't it? Like between everything that's going on, like politically in America and the UK
man, I tell you.
and Europe, and then you've got obviously the freaking like the war in the Middle East, and then you've got the Ukraine-Russia war, and it's like then you've got all this freaking crazy alien stuff, and then you've got all the technology that's coming out. It's like, whoa,
I
man.
remember when we were born when there wasn't even any internet.
No, you'd have to dial up in 1998. And then like if your mum wanted to make a phone call, she'd like make you go off the internet.
Yeah,
that's mad, isn't it? That's mad. Man, playing Red Alert on the PC. Do you remember that game? That was like a real good like military game. But it was a bit like Age of Empires, but it was like modern warfare. There'd be like tanks and that. That was pretty good. Man, that was cool. Yeah, dude, just like big square heavy tellies, you know, watching Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Life was simpler back then, man.
VHS.
I tend to think about that if I ever go on like a hike or if I'm at a beach and you're just kind of out in nature and you're like, it's mental that my experience right now is just sitting in this nice calm place while there's all this other crazy stuff that's going on in the world.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I think things of that as well. Like almost like how like tranquil it seems to you compared to like what you know is going on out there. Yeah, it's crazy, isn't it? Well, I think we leave it there, folks. It's been a pretty decent sized pod. We've talked about all sorts of random stuff today. We've certainly talked about a plethora.
Yes. Quickly, before we end, what is your New Year's resolution?
To be honest, without sounding almost just like really sounding almost like just like a dire parent, probably just to be like maybe like a bit less stressed. I had like a lot of stuff going on like structurally with my house in 2024 that required like a lot of attention, and also just like other fun sort of like building projects in my house, but like mixed with like structural issues and stuff like that, all require like a lot of time and effort, and obviously try and keep costs down. I was doing like as much as I could myself, all of that labouring and stuff, do you know what I mean, and time and effort and money combined. You know, when you've got like a job on top of that, and when you're like a dad, and you know, when you're trying to like, you know, you're cooking and cleaning all the time and trying to be a good dad and stuff, it's time consuming, man. And sometimes it just leaves you feeling like a little bit frazzled, and I'm just hoping for a bit more of like a chilled out 2025 so I can concentrate more on, you know, being a bit more proactive with work, just enjoying myself a little bit more in general, and not having to stress about maybe just some annoying adult things that we will have to stress about sometimes, basically. But yeah, that's about it,
good,
guys.
Man.
Nice.
Thanks
healthy.
everyone for tuning in to Pandora's Box. We love you, friends of the pod out there. Whether you're a brand new listener or if you've been listening for ages, we love and appreciate you. Say new year, same pod, guys.
Yeah.
We've got a guest coming on next week. That Janie Goddard's coming on next week.
Ooh.
She's that, you know, she's done loads of stuff. She was in the circus, Road Elephant, or something like that.
Really interesting lady.
Knows loads of like interesting like views on like she's like a druid. Also got some interesting views on like, you know, nutrition and stuff like that. So that'd be interesting talking to her. But yeah, we love you guys. Have a good one. See you next time.
Bye.